Hello and welcome back to one of our very detailed scouting reports. And we are joined by Ciaran, a Dundalk supporter and stadium announcer, I believe. So I've been told you're good. You're good on the mic, so that's a bit of pressure. Thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about Hayden's playing style and what kind of impact, if any, that they had at your club?
Hayden's, first of all, he came in with a very good reputation, obviously, because of the fact that he had signed from Millwall. I think that was a high profile in which Dundalk supporters would have known. He would have done his youth football through there, and he also had a loan spell at St Johnstone. So he came in with quite a pedigree of a reputation. And the initial kind of response that Dundalk fans got when Hayden did sign, when we did see him play, was that this was a player who we felt could have made a very big impact at the club in terms of his playing style, because he was quite a tough defender. And the League of Ireland in itself, while it has sincerely improved in terms of its playing style over the past number of years, particularly in the past 10 to 15 years, where there's been really, because of the change of coaching and style of play, there's been a quantum leap in the game. Hayden was kind of one of those players that we knew that when we the one thing that has come out in the League of Ireland the past couple of years is that we're very much like to play in the width. We like to have attacking midfielders, and particularly in the wing, that Hayden would be a player that could definitely handle some of the wingers that are within this country. You know, you have Michael Duffy, you have Darrell Horgan, who was his teammate. You know, those kind of players. Ryan O'Kane was also another teammate of his. Very much pacey, tough wingers, and we thought that Hayden definitely would be one of those players that could settle into the side and definitely deal with those attacking threats from the wide areas.
Lovely. And so, how was he sort of perceived? Are we signing now a finished product who can jump straight into the team, or is it someone we need to be patient with? Because obviously he's with you guys for a while, but the leap from youth football not youth football, but under 23s to adults is quite a jump. So is it someone we need to be patient with, or should he jump straight in now?
Well, I think a lot of people need to know that he's played in the guts of around 50 games with Dundalk, including a Europa Conference League qualification game, which has its own differentialities in the sense that, you know, we played against a team from Gibraltar, Bruno's Magpies, who knocked out Derry City there 2 weeks ago, and K.A. Curry, who are from Iceland. So he would have been involved in those two qualification rounds, which will stand to him because you're playing a completely different style of football. There's a completely sense of different preparation in relation to that. But he's played, you know, against a side that has qualified for the Europa Conference League group stages in Shamrock Rovers. He scored against them a winning goal in the FAI Cup to knock them out. I think he's coming in very much vastly much better experience than what he was when he came in. There is a massive change in under 23 football, and that's something that really does need to, I'm not being overly critical of the English Football League system, but it's not competitive enough. And I think that is a detriment to those under 23 players that do come into adult football, is that they're not used to the pace, the intensity, and the competitiveness. I think Hayden has gotten that from playing in Ireland. And I think while he's not the finished product, I do think that he will just grow from strength to strength from here, because he has some fantastic experience from his time in Ireland. And I think also one of the things, there's kind of a two-part to the Hayden Muller story at Dundalk. Our manager, Stephen O'Donnell, who did sign him, was relieved of his duties earlier on this year and was replaced by John Daly. John, I think, really brought him on when John came in as manager, and a lot of people were kind of going, "Oh, this is the Hayden Muller that we were expecting," and it was kind of very sad that he kind of moved on, because a lot of people were first of all, very surprised at the move, but secondly, we were starting to see kind of the fruit of what John Daly was doing with them, and because of that, we were kind of a little bit, oh, he's gone now. So it was a little bit disappointing in that regard. But at the same time, everybody wished him the best of luck. We know that he's going to do well in England. I know that he was looking for a move home. But at the same time, we do think that John Daly, the coaching from both Stephen O'Donnell and from John Daly, has made him into a much better player than what we had when he arrived.
Yeah, I mean, it is something because I'm old enough to remember reserve football
Yeah.
where it did mean something a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems, especially as you say, in the last sort of 10, 15 years, a little trend where some of the younger ones come over,
Yeah.
get their sort
Yeah.
of taste of men's football where it means something, where someone's
Mm.
putting food on the table. Not quite that bad, but
No.
it means something to them. Whereas in the tippy tappy under 23s, it's like you've got all the time in the world, and
Yeah, but everybody's kind of friends. There's no kind of
yeah,
meaning to it.
yeah,
Whereas, you come into a situation that in Ireland it's a 10-team league,
mm,
and the way that it's been this year is that while Shelbourne are leading the pack, I think that the overall consensus at the moment is that there's been nobody resolutely outstanding this season. And because of that, 2 to 3 games, you could be back up the table. That's the way it was going this year. It was quite difficult. So, it was quite difficult to separate everyone. So, in that respect, in a 10-team league, when you're playing with such a high intensity, that you kind of know that every point counts, and every 3 points means something. And particularly to a town like Dundalk, I don't know if you know it, but it's an unbelievable footballing town. Like the quote goes, when the team's doing well, the town's doing well. So I mean, like it's probably a bit like Sutton as well. So it matters, and I think that will stand to somebody like Hayden, where he knows that he has to go into a footballing environment where it actually matters to not only the supporters but for the town and the community.
yeah. I mean, he's one thing that might satisfy me. He's coming to join Steve Morrison, who's like a bit of a Millwall legend, and he's obviously going through the Millwall thing. So there's a little connection there.
There's a wee connection for him.
Yeah. And Terry Bullivant is our technical director as well. But what would you say is what can we look at as his strengths and where he needs to work a little bit? He won't listen, don't worry.
I know, we'll be completely honest. I think sometimes I think there may have been questions in relation to his positional sense and stuff like that, but that comes in time and experience. All in all, I think his strengths is that when he's one-on-one with a player, he's very strong on the tackle. I think he will grow up more and more, that he will be a leader. But the other thing is that he's a little bit versatile, because he was playing in not just the defensive positions, but there has been times where he's been called to play in the kind of either in the pocket behind the midfield 4 or in midfield. So they were kind of last chance, how would you say, decisions and stuff like that, or kind of the decisions because of injuries and suspensions. So I think his versatility will come into it. And I think that will hold stand, because there was a times where he was, although he's a predominantly right footer, he was made playing left back. And because of that, there was even at one stage we're saying he's making that left back position his own. So, I mean, that shows that he's willing to put his foot in and be versatile when needed throughout the side.
Lovely.
Just don't put him up front.
So we know, especially clubs our size and everything, and you mentioned the community, we know it's not about on the pitch. There's a lot off the pitch. Yeah. How did he come across off the pitch? Did he interact much? Was there a lot of interaction, especially with the younger fans? Selfies.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, there's a photograph that I actually have of him with a friend of mine's son, and he was always very willing to engage. Like, this is the one thing about Dundalk, is that there's always been this kind of, since probably about 2012 right up until now, they've more lived in the town compared to that of maybe previous years where they were traveling from Dublin. So the players would live in the town, they would drink coffee in town and stuff like that. And they've always been, like, the one thing that Dundalk players have been is that they've been very engaging and they're of good character. And Hayden is no different to that. He's always been a very, engaging individual, a very nice fella. Anything in relation to engaging with fans and stuff like that, there's been no problem. And, the one thing I will say is that the one from seeing him up front, in terms of from a media perspective and from a fan's perspective, it hurts when he loses, and he loves it when he wins. So he goes all in. So I think you do have a very good player on your hands.
Marvelous. Well, thank you so much, Ciaran. Thanks for joining me. and I can say this sincerely because we're not going to be playing each other in no shape or form because we're not in that Iron Brew Cup that we played the Bohemians in.
Oh yeah.
Good luck for the season.
Thank you.
Best of
Well,
luck for everything.
we have 10 games to go. We're currently in the relegation playoff position. It's not been a good. It's been a difficult year all round. So if we get out of that relegation playoff and rebuild for next year, I think we'll be all right.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time.
Anytime.
Take care. Bye.